Hello again, everybody. Zack Attack is here with my TNA Impact Wrestling review for tonight's show, 1/26/2012. I thought tonight's Impact was actually pretty good. Impact, everyone knows TNA. It's hit or miss with them. One week they're good, next they're not, especially the crappy pay-per-views. But heading towards Against All Odds, we can have a decent build-up with 2 title matches declared. 1 title match still needs to be solved. But we saw a lot of interesting scenarios. We start up Impact tonight with a bang. The saga with Hardy, Storm, Bully Ray, and Wood continue tonight. As we left off last week, James Storm and Jeff Hardy fought a brutal #1 contenders match, decent matchup. But Bully Ray came in and interfered yet again. And even Bobby Wood got involved. And Sting got involved. We begin tonight with Jeff Hardy and Bully Ray beating the crap out of each other backstage, which would be kind of theme of the night. Beating the crap out of each other. So we have Hardy and Bully fighting like a photo shoot area, beating the crap out of each other, weapons and tables, then going off to the parking lot. And Hardy was dominating, Bully Ray tried to fight back, but then here comes Bobby Roode pulling up in a pickup truck, came out and attacked Hardy, giving Bully Ray a little help. So Bully Ray and Wood was doing a double team, and here comes James Storm from behind, attacking Wood and Bully Ray, giving Hardy a little help. So those 4 were clamming it up, beating the crap out of each other back, nailing each other, anything that's not taped down, chairs and tables and everything. Here comes Sting with a baseball bat to declare order. Smacked the hell out of Bobby Roode and Bully Ray like he did last week. Broke up the fight for now. So these 4 would lead a clash again, which I'll get to in a moment. While Hardy, Storm, Bully Ray, and Wood try to rest off their wounds from the little brawl in the back, we had our first match, which was made last week by Sting. It was a triple threat knockouts #1 contenders match as Tara took on Velvet Sky and Mickie James, who defeated Madison Rayne last week in a steel cage match. It was a pretty decent match. And this match, knockouts match to kick off tonight, I've been saying it for the last couple weeks on here that knockouts matches are a little bit better than WWE. For one, they give knockouts a lot more time tonight. 1 commercial break, at least a 10-15 minute match. And 2, let the girls actually fucking wrestle. No gimmicks, no silly moves, no silly dance moves, no stink faces, just pure wrestling with these knockouts. I'm not saying and I've said this before, I'll say it again. I'm not saying knockouts is totally better than Divas, but they're a tad bit better. They got great women's wrestlers, and this was a pretty decent matchup to kick off tonight. Knockouts have been kind of impressing me the last couple of months. Last month and a half with Gail Kim coming in, giving knockouts and kicking the butt, makes wrestling for a lot of great opportunity. It was a great matchup, great knockouts action. Every girl had a move. It was back and forth action. Mickie James had a little bit of advantage. I would have liked to have. I like Mickie James to have won. I would have liked Velvet to win too, but it was Tara who got the victory after slamming Velvet on top of Mickie, kind of a double slam. It was like DDT'd Velvet on top of Mickie. And Tara pinned Mickie 1, 2, 3. Tara got the victory. Mickie had a chance to win it, but Tara blocked it. Then led towards Tara, finishing both of them off, as Tara will now be facing off against Gail Kim for the TNA Knockouts Championship at Against All Odds. Well, Madison Rayne be another factor, because Madison's been interfering in every of Gail's title defenses. We'll see if she'll get involved in this match with Tara against Gail Kim, involved in their little history back in WWE. But by the time Tara arrived in TNA, Gail Kim had left TNA to go to WWE again. But now Tara's back in TNA, so we'll see how these 2 can click. They had a little bit of a thing in WWE, but I don't think they really clashed that much in WWE, so it would be cool to see Victoria and Gail get it on at Against All Odds. So we'll see how that fails out. But decent opening matchup with the knockouts. Now, speaking of title matches and #1 contenderships for titles, we all saw last week Austin Aries came out talking about no one left, Alex Shelley returned to TNA after a couple months off. Of course, his partner, his Motor City Machine Guns partner, Chris Sabin, still out with a knee injury. And of course, Alex wants a shot. Austin declared that tonight, Alex Shelley would have to be in a match against opponent of Austin's choosing. If Shelley would win, he would get a shot against Aries. So it was Alex Shelley taking on Zima Iron. And this was as good as a match I thought it was going to be, because I like Zima Iron. I've always said it about him ever since he debuted in the company back in July. And his cockiness attitude, you can tell he's got a little bit of Cody Rhodes thing. Didn't want to be photographed and his face was getting destroyed or his hair or whatever. But he's not exactly acting dashing, but still kind of cocky little bastard. But I like his style, I like his moves. And this was a pretty good exhibition match. I'm glad to see Alex Shelley back. You know what I mean? And I'm a big fan of Motor City Machine Guns. I've always been a fan of theirs, both of them. Not just because I'm from Michigan, but also the great wrestlers, of course, the great tag team wrestlers, great singles competitors. And as much as I cannot wait to see Chris Sabin return and a full return of the Motor City Machine Guns to give the tag team division a kick in the ass, although Magnus and Joe are getting it a little bit of a kick in the ass, and I'll get to them in a moment. I'm glad to see Alex at least competing in a match against somebody to get a shot against Aries. Alex Shelley got the victory with sliced bread and a decent back and forth matchup. Zima tried to do his 450 splash but missed it. That's when Alex capitalized with the sliced bread move on the top. 1, 2, 3. Alex Shelley will now face off against Austin Aries for the X Division Championship. So we got 2 title matches declared for Against All Odds, with Gail Kim now defending against Tara, who won a number of contenders match, as I mentioned, and Alex Shelley getting the win over Zima Iron, which means Alex Shelley will take on Austin Aries for the X Division Championship. There was another match made for Against All Odds, which I'll get to in a moment. Now, on to a little segment involving Sting calling out Hardy, Storm, Wood, and Bully Ray. Of course, I mentioned beginning of the show, the big fight happened between those 4. Well, apparently the fight continued on. They were all brought out to the ring, and they could not stop getting their hands on each other. Once all 4 were in the ring, the fight continued. And despite many attempts to get them separated, they still couldn't get their hands off each other. They kept gnawing at each other, grabbing each other, beating the shit out of each other any moment they can get. Sting declared, they all want to fight. You all want to fight tonight? Well, you're going to get it. Tag match. Storm Hardy against Bully Ray and Bobby Roode. And James Storm's like, hell, man, we want to beat these guys up. How we make it a tables match? So it became a tag team tables match, main event between Storm, Hardy, Roode, and Bully Ray, which is our main event for the evening, and I'll get to that in a moment or two. Now on to the comedy relief of the evening in a unique kind of a half-mixed tag match, kind of. It was Eric Young teaming up with ODB, take on Angelina and Rhythm. Of course, these two have been getting it on 2 weeks ago. ODB was in a match against against Rhythm, and Angelina kept getting attacked by Eric Young. Last week we saw Eric Young attempt to wrestle Angelina, but he kept tossing with the referee, which led to Angelina giving him a low blow, not even a match. So tonight, still the same situation. Eric Young would not get his hands on anybody. He would tag him with the referee. He was Rapno. Although it did give Angelina a helicopter spin. That's the only thing he did to the women. This match was just okay, it's just comedy style. ODB kind of controlled most of the match because Eric Young, cuckoo as he is, he has a little bit of his back. He doesn't want to hit a woman. He would rather spin him around and put him down again. Make him all dizzy like he did to Angelina. That led George, after the dump, it was double helicopter spin. I think Eric had Angelina and ODB had Rhythm, or the opposite. Then ODB gave a DDT to, I think, Angelina. Maybe wrong, but ODB delivered a DDT to Angelina. 1, 2, 3. ODB and Eric Young win this okay, weird matchup. So, speaking of weird, we had a little segment involving AJ Styles and Kazarian and Christopher Daniels. Now, AJ's still wanting answers about why is Kaz doing what he's doing, because Kaz went back all the way back to the Wild Card Tag Team Tournament Finals against Joe and Magnus. When Kaz walked out, apparently Christopher Daniels is controlling Kaz. Kaz is like a puppet. And I kept saying if it's blackmail or if it's, something like money involved, Kaz's contract up, and Chris is like, hey, if you don't obey me, you get fired, or something like that. We don't know the whole story. But Cass is acting like a puppet tonight because he was trying to shake AJ's hand, but Daniels is like, get out of the ring. So, and of course, Daniels made a match. Well, try to make a match. We don't know if it's official. Probably will be. He wants Cass to take on AJ Styles at Against All Odds. It's not official yet, but it probably will be in the next week or so. It'll be Cass and AJ at Against All Odds. Of course, Cass is very hesitant. But like I said, something must be hanging over his head. We didn't get a lot of answers tonight, but this whole thing between Chris and Kaz and AJ, kind of a weird situation, but we're probably going to get a lot more answers in the next week or two, heading towards Against All Odds. Maybe at Against All Odds, everything will be answered. And another mention, didn't mention another segment, we all saw Garrett Bischoff a couple weeks ago talk to his dad, Eric, about a trainer, a mystery trainer that was going to shock Eric. And Eric went to to Garrett's training facility, and he did meet the trainer. We did see him. Eric was stunned, as Garrett would say, but we don't know who it is. We just saw Eric's reaction, say, "Get out of here!" So Eric saw it. Eric saw who the trainer was, but we don't know still. We, as the people, don't know. I'm guessing Hogan. I'm guessing it's Hogan. Because Hogan's now on good side. We haven't seen Hogan in a while. Hogan's teasing about being on the European tour. So I'm guessing Hulk Hogan. Maybe he'll appear Against All Odds. So who knows about this whole situation. Now, we had a match, next match, which was Magnus' tag team partner Samoa Joe taking on Matt Morgan. Last week it was Crimson taking on Magnus. And of course, Crimson got the victory, but Joe and Magnus beat the crap out of each other. These two, as I mentioned, Magnus and Joe were in a wild card tag team final. They beat AJ and Kaz. Like I mentioned, Kaz turned his back on AJ with this whole thing with Daniels. And Magnus and Joe got a shot against Crimson and Morgan for the titles back at the Genesis pay-per-view. But they lost. Now they want a rematch. We beat the crap out of Morgan and Crimson for weeks and then sneak attacks. And of course, Magnus had a number one-on-one match against Crimson last week. And this week it was Joe and Morgan. Decent matchup from two big men. Morgan got a victory with a clothesline. Okay, decent matchup. But then Crimson got attacked by Magnus after the match, which led towards Joe trying to save Crimson by attacking Magnus. But then Joe came from behind, clipping Morgan's knee. And this is what happened the last 2 weeks. Morgan and Crimson both won their respective one-on-one matches against Magnus and Joe. But Magnus and Joe would get the last word by attacking both Morgan and Crimson after the match. So I'm guessing another tag team title shot will be in the immediate future, probably at Against All Odds. It's not official yet, so I'm guessing that will happen. Joe and Magnus got a lot of potential, and I'm glad they're giving Joe something to do instead of just floundering around looking for something to do. I'm glad Joe's got a program going on, a working program, a little bit of a tag situation with Magnus. Magnus has nothing going on for him either, so I'm glad they're both together doing something instead of just floundering, trying to do something, make something happen. I'm glad this tag team's working out fine. Joe and Magnus are getting tag team wrestling, a little bit of kicking the ass in TNA with all the teams out. These two are the only good tag teams left. Max America's out. As mentioned, Motor City Machine Guns is out until Saban comes back. So these two teams are going to do fine for now. But when Motor City Machine Guns come back, the TNA tag team division will get a kick in the ass. So, but this feud between Joe Magnus and Crimson and Morgan is far from being over. Speaking of far from being over, that leads us to our main event. Tables tag team matchup. It was Bobby Roode, TNA champion, teaming up with Bully Ray, Jeff Hardy, and James Storm. And boy, if you saw the fights, you knew what you were expecting. You saw the segments earlier on with the street fight in the back and what happened in the ring with Sting trying to conduct business. You can see these four want to get their hands on each other, and they want to beat the shit out of each other, and that's what happened from the bell. They beat the crap out of each other outside the ring. It was basically a fight. Like I said, it wasn't even a match. It was basically a brawl, like you've been saying all night. Basically, a brawl that was like in 3 rounds. Round 1 was in the back, the parking lot brawl. Round 2 was the segment involving all 4 in the ring beating the crap out of each other, and this was the final round, the match, the tables match between these 4 in a tag match situation. Back and forth match, and basically a brawl. You know, Wood was taking care of Storm for a while, and Bully Ray was attacking Hardy, and there was some double teaming to every attempt to put him through a table. So, like, for example, like Jeff and Storm was trying to put Bobby Roode through a table, but Bully Ray moved the table. Same for Storm. I think Bully Ray was trying to suplex Hardy through a table, and Storm moved the table. But the end of the match happened with Jeff Hardy holding down Bobby Roode to a table, and James Storm delivering an elbow from the top, giving Storm and Hardy the win because he put Bobby Roode through a table. But as I mentioned, things will fall from being over in this situation as Billy Ray came back with a steel chair kneeling Hardy and Storm. And it ended with a Bubba Bomb from the top, putting Hardy through the table with Bobby Roode helping. As Bully Ray and Bobby Roode stood up top, the broken bodies of Hardy and Storm, all four bodies are hurting from the brawls tonight. Physical action from these four. I smell a fatal four-way for the title. It'll make sense. Fatal four-way for the title. Because Bully Ray's been interfering in Hardy's business, and now he's getting involved in Storm's business. It'll make sense. All four collide in a fatal four-way for the title against all odds. But we'll see what happens. I'm thinking Impact will be live, or at least taped, from the UK. Apparently, the first international impact from London. So we'll see what happens next week. But like I said, tonight's Impact was a very decent one, especially those backstage. I like the backstage brawl to kick off tonight better than a blah blah segment like every other wrestling show. I like the backstage involvement with all four guys and Sting getting involved, so I like that. This main event was decent. There was some okay wrestling tonight, decent wrestling tonight. So I thought it was a very decent Impact. Heading towards against all odds. We've got a long way to go. That is it for my review. Thank you all very much. Have a good night. Dynamite, we've all been attacked by the review of Zach. Have a good night. See you all later. Bye bye. Yeah.